So, finally, we now have a house with its own water line and now with its own water meter. So we no longer have the problem of two houses with one meter. I now have my own water meter, so free riders can be punished now. Who paid for this water meter? Did the Ghana Water Company pay for it? No. Did the landlord who owns the house pay for it? No. The Canadian government ended up paying for this water meter, for this water line. So ironically, it's the Canadian government who's contributed to punishing free riders by reducing one less free rider who's the neighbor next door. But unfortunately, the landlord didn't have to pay for it, and the Ghana Water Company didn't have to pay for it. But at least the problem has been solved. So if you come to Ghana, you have two choices if you want running water. One, a water line like this from the Ghana Water Company, and hopefully with its own water meter. Or, follow me, an elevated poly tank, which is like the one over here. You can see it right there. So these are the two ways you get running water if you want to come to Ghana and live in Ghana. So, the problem is if when you're selecting housing you have two choices for running water, and for whatever reason the Ghanaians who run the CUSO office in Accra refused to make sure that I had my own water meter, and they paid 2 years of rent in advance to the landlord without requiring the installation of a water meter, and it wasn't until I complained that they responded by putting in the water meter. This whole problem could have been avoided by putting in the water meter beforehand. So, the end of the story is that punishing free riders develops trust, and corruption fails to punish free riders, and that's why you have low levels of trust. If there are any Ghanaians watching this film, don't take this personally. Ghana is not the only country where there is widespread and pervasive corruption. Transparency International, Ghana has just worsened its corruption. It's now only at 3.3 out of a possible 10 score. Canada's at 8.5, but Georgia's at 2.8, Kazakhstan at 2.6, Honduras at 2.5, and Indonesia at 2.4. So there's all sorts of countries with this problem. So if you're coming to Ghana to live, make sure that you are aware of these problems. And if you're coming to Ghana as a Canadian CUSO cooperant, please send an email to Lawrence Amesu asking him to make sure there's a water meter or an elevated poly tank. Oddly enough, he hasn't done this, and we'll always remember this as a mystery as to why 8 Canadians in the entire country of Ghana couldn't get running water for their housing when it could have been easily provided. So farewell, and send Mr. Amesu an email. Bye for now.